In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded with information and stimulation. The pace of life has accelerated, and technology has become an integral part of our daily routines. We are always connected, always reachable, and always entertained. Pleasure is just a click away. With the internet at our fingertips, we have access to an endless array of content and experiences that can provide instant gratification. The internet offers instant access to a vast digital landscape, a world of possibilities that can be explored with ease. Entertainment, from movies and TV shows to user-generated content and live streams. Connection, allowing us to communicate with friends, family, and even strangers from all over the world. And excitement, the thrill of gaming, the anticipation of a new episode, the dopamine rush of a like or comment. No waiting, no effort. The digital world caters to our desire for instant gratification, providing us with immediate access to whatever we want, whenever we want it. This constant stimulation has rewired our brains, changing the way we process information and experience the world around us, making patience and boredom feel intolerable. We've become accustomed to constant stimulation, and the absence of it can feel uncomfortable and even anxiety-inducing. We're conditioned to seek quick dopamine hits from the digital world, those little bursts of pleasure that keep us coming back for more. Notifications, the constant stream of updates and alerts that demand our attention. Videos, the endless scroll of short-form content that keeps us entertained for hours on end. And endless scrolling. The infinite feed of social media, designed to keep us engaged and consuming content for as long as possible. The digital world acts like a slot machine, offering intermittent rewards that keep us hooked and coming back for more. Keeping us hooked on minor rewards, a like, a comment, a new follower. These small victories trigger a release of dopamine, reinforcing our behavior and making us more likely to repeat it. Real-life experiences, the richness and complexity of the physical world, building skills, nurturing relationships, the things that truly matter in life, can seem dull by comparison. The instant gratification of the digital world can make the slower, more deliberate pace of real life feel unappealing. Among digital temptations, there are some that are particularly potent and addictive. Pornography is uniquely potent and accessible. Its hyper-stimulating nature and easy availability make it a particularly dangerous trap. It's everywhere, just a few taps away on any device, anytime, day or night, whenever the urge strikes. On any device, from smartphones and tablets to laptops and desktop computers, normalized as harmless entertainment, often portrayed as a normal and even healthy part of modern life. But this perception hides a darker side, a reality that is often overlooked or ignored, a more complex, often damaging reality. The consequences of pornography use can be far-reaching and devastating. Pornography directly targets primal reward pathways, hijacking our brain's natural systems for pleasure and motivation, offering endless novelty and exaggerated stimulation. It provides a constant stream of new and exciting content, designed to keep us hooked and coming back for more. Scientists call this a supernormal stimulus, an exaggerated version of a natural reward that our brains are not equipped to handle. An artificial, intensified version of what our brains crave. It's like junk food for the brain, providing a quick hit of pleasure without any nutritional value. The initial pleasure is intense, providing a powerful rush of dopamine that reinforces the behavior. But the brain quickly adapts, building tolerance and requiring more and more stimulation to achieve the same level of pleasure, setting the stage for dependency. As tolerance builds, the individual may find themselves spending more and more time consuming pornography, neglecting other aspects of their life. In the silence of private browsing, where there are no external constraints or social pressures, a powerful habit can quietly take root, gradually eroding one's sense of self-worth and well-being. Behind glowing screens, a silent epidemic grows, an addiction that builds quietly, often unnoticed. What starts as curiosity can become a compulsive habit, hidden by privacy and fueled by shame. There are no obvious signs, no substances to hide, making it one of the most isolating struggles. Stigma keeps people silent, believing they're alone or uniquely broken. The internet is everywhere, work, school, social life, so triggers are always present. Recovery requires immense willpower and new digital boundaries. This epidemic thrives in darkness, but healing begins by bringing it into the light. It's not a moral failing, but a predictable brain response to unnatural stimulation. Addiction isn't always about substances. We often think of addiction in terms of drugs or alcohol, but the reality is that addiction can manifest in many different forms. It's crucial to broaden our understanding of what addiction truly encompasses. It can be about behaviors like pornography use, excessive gaming, or compulsive social media engagement. These behaviors can become just as addictive as any substance, hijacking the brain's reward system. This is a behavioral addiction. It's a pattern of repeated actions that provide a temporary sense of relief or pleasure. A compulsive need to repeat an action for its mental reward, despite harm. This harm can be physical, emotional, social, or financial. The individual continues the behavior despite knowing the negative consequences. The cycle starts with a trigger. This trigger can be anything that sets off the urge to engage in the addictive behavior. Stress, boredom, loneliness, or even seemingly positive emotions can act as triggers. These feelings create a vulnerability that the addictive behavior promises to alleviate, leading to a search for relief. The individual seeks out the addictive behavior as a way to escape the unpleasant feelings. The search and release flood the brain with pleasure, releasing dopamine and creating a sense of euphoria. This reinforces the behavior and makes it more likely to be repeated, but guilt and shame quickly follow. The temporary relief is often overshadowed by feelings of remorse and self-disgust. These negative feelings become new triggers, creating a vicious cycle of addiction. The individual feels trapped and unable to break free, fueling the next cycle. The cycle repeats itself, becoming more and more difficult to escape with each iteration. The person isn't chasing pleasure. While the behavior initially provides a sense of pleasure, that's not the primary driver in the long run, but escaping pain the habit itself creates. The addiction becomes a way to numb the pain and discomfort caused by the addiction itself. It's not about weak willpower. Overcoming a behavioral addiction isn't simply a matter of trying harder or having more self-control. It's a deeply ingrained neurological pattern. The brain has been rewired to associate the behavior with reward and relief. The brain learns to crave the behavior, even in the absence of the original trigger. The cravings can become intense and overwhelming, even when it's harmful. The individual may recognize the negative consequences of their behavior, but they feel powerless to stop. Breaking free means retraining the brain. It requires a conscious effort to disrupt the established neural pathways and create new, healthier ones, and finding healthier ways to cope with stress, boredom, and loneliness. This might involve exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, or seeking professional help. To truly understand the powerful grip that pornography can have on an individual, we need to delve into the intricate workings of the brain. Specifically, we need to look at the brain's reward system, a complex network that plays a crucial role in shaping our behaviors and desires. This system is the key to understanding how pornography can become so addictive. This system is designed to reward survival behaviors, the actions that ensure our survival and the continuation of our species. These include essential activities like eating, drinking, and engaging in sexual activity, all fundamental to our existence. The reward comes in the form of a neurochemical called dopamine, often referred to as the pleasure molecule. Pornography, unfortunately, has the ability to hijack this very system, exploiting its natural mechanisms for its own purposes. It does this by delivering intense and novel stimulation to the brain, triggering a massive release of dopamine. This level of stimulation is far beyond what we would typically experience in natural, everyday interactions and experiences. The brain, in its attempt to make sense of this artificial stimulation, can't distinguish between real intimacy and the pixels on a screen. It processes both as potential sources of reward. As a result, it only registers the dopamine surge, associating the act of watching pornography with intense pleasure and satisfaction. Over time, with repeated exposure, the brain adapts to this artificial flood of dopamine. It does this by reducing the number of dopamine receptors, essentially becoming less sensitive to the effects of the neurochemical. This is what we refer to as tolerance. And this tolerance leads to a diminished response to the same level of stimulation. What once provided a thrill now feels commonplace, and old content loses its effect. Consequently, users often find themselves seeking more extreme or novel material in an attempt to recapture that initial high. They are constantly chasing that same dopamine rush, that feeling of intense pleasure and satisfaction. As this cycle continues, natural pleasures, things like meaningful relationships, engaging hobbies, and fulfilling social interactions, begin to feel bland and uninteresting in comparison. The brain's pleasure scale is effectively recalibrated, setting a new artificially high standard for what constitutes a rewarding experience. This makes real life, with its more subtle and nuanced pleasures, seem dull and unappealing. The addiction gradually crowds out genuine happiness and fulfillment, replacing them with a fleeting, artificial substitute. Ultimately, this can leave users feeling emotionally numb, disconnected from themselves and others, and trapped in a cycle of seeking artificial stimulation. The brain is fundamentally rewired to prioritize artificial pleasure above all else. This comes at the expense of real experiences, genuine connections, and authentic sources of joy. This is how a seemingly harmless habit can gradually transform into a powerful and destructive compulsion. The cycle deepens, becoming increasingly difficult to break free from. Breaking free from this cycle requires conscious effort, unwavering determination, and a willingness to confront the underlying issues that fuel the addiction. However, recovery is absolutely possible, and many individuals have successfully reclaimed their lives from the grip of pornography addiction. But it all starts with understanding this hijack, understanding how pornography manipulates the brain's reward system, and recognizing the impact it has on our lives. Tolerance marks the shift from casual use to addiction. At first, a little is enough, but the brain adapts and pleasure fades. Users escalate, more time, more extreme content, chasing a high that never lasts. The cycle becomes exhausting and joyless, driven by craving, not enjoyment. Many report they no longer even like it. It's just a compulsion. The behavior shifts from seeking pleasure to escaping discomfort. Addiction is a treadmill, running faster just to feel normal. The brain's reward system is fundamentally altered, making quitting difficult. Pornography addiction is hard to spot, but patterns emerge. Loss of control, trying to stop but failing, is a key sign. Continued use despite harm to relationships, work, or self-esteem is another. Guilt, shame, and secrecy weigh heavily, deepening the problem. Hiding behavior, deleting histories, and lying are common. Using pornography to cope with stress or loneliness is a major red flag. When it becomes an emotional crutch, healthy coping skills erode. The habit shifts from curiosity to compulsion, causing real pain. The costs of pornography addiction are often invisible but profound. Time is lost, hours that could build skills, relationships, or dreams. Real intimacy suffers, partners feel rejected, trust erodes, and emotional distance grows. Self-esteem crumbles under cycles of shame and secrecy. Pornography distorts views of sex and relationships, promoting unrealistic expectations. The emotional toll, anxiety, depression, anhedonia can be overwhelming. Living a double life is exhausting, isolating the individual even in a crowd. The invisible prison of addiction leaves many feeling utterly alone. Pornography offers artificial pleasure, a one-way self-centered transaction. There's no vulnerability, empathy, or real connection, just consumption. It mimics physical release, but ignores the emotional and spiritual depth of true intimacy. Real intimacy is built on trust, vulnerability, and mutual giving. It nourishes the soul, creating lasting security and belonging. Prioritizing artificial pleasure damages body, mind, and spirit. The brain is rewired to crave instant stimulation, making real relationships harder. Pornography promises connection, but delivers isolation and shame. It trains users to see others as objects, not people. Recovery is about rediscovering authentic connection and the ability to love and be loved. If you see yourself in this story, know there is hope. You are not alone, and you are not broken beyond repair. The brain can heal. Recovery is possible. The first step is honesty. Admit the problem to yourself and someone you trust. Breaking the silence shatters isolation and opens the door to support. Recovery means learning new ways to cope, building healthy habits, and creating digital boundaries. It's a journey, not a quick fix. Setbacks happen, but every step forward counts. Seek help. Therapists, support groups, and online communities are available. You have the power to change. The truth will set you free. Have the courage to speak it.